me celebrate all the good. Look at this audience. Couldn't we end the war on terror ourselves? And I'll play commander-in-chief for a minute. Here's rules of engagement. Kill them all. There's your rules of engagement. Woo. Any questions? Are you kidding me? I wrote Wang Dang Sweet Poontang and figured out the rules of engagement. So I've covered all the bases. So there is good. This room just absolutely glows with shit kicker, take no crap freedom lovers. And I salute all of you. That's important. We had a friend for dinner one night. He loved the venison. And he's from France. I'm an inclusive guy. I'm a tolerant, global loving kind of guy. I didn't invent love, but I've perfected it. And we actually have some foreigners in the audience here tonight because they came to the NRA Convention because in their soul, in their belly, deep in their spirit, they know that God created them like an American. Yes, the French and the Germans and the Spanish and the Portuguese and the Belgians and even the English, they know that deep down inside. And so they come here to get a shot at freedom, to see what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, what it smells like. And as I did for our friend, I have so much fun, it's stupid. Like I did for our friend from France the other night, to make sure that everybody knows that even the Motor City Madman truly manifests love and empathy and compassion, tolerance. As I do on stage all over the world when I tour. It's just adorable when I play in France and all these foreign countries. I actually do what I'm about to do right now. And I did it, I think, last year, because we have new friends here from other countries. And I just played the American national anthem. I'm sure you all knew every lyric in there. Rockets, red glare, bombs bursting in air. But now I'd like to show that we welcome, like our French friend at the barbecue, and our foreign friends here tonight to get a shot at freedom, and I do on stage all around the world. I've taken it upon myself to learn a few stanzas of other countries' national anthem. And this time, on, what is it, April 12th? Is it 12th yet? April 12th, it's turkey season. 2015. Maybe that's appropriate right now. I would like to sing a few stanzas of the national anthem for the rest of the world. This is their national anthem. Oh, and all you California people must feel at home too. It's funny, but it's not. And I know if you're from California and you're here, you're real Americans, because you're fighting the toughest fight of all, like they are in Connecticut, in New York, in New Jersey, in Massachusetts, in Maryland, in Illinois. You are my heroes because you're facing the ugly horde of freedom haters and the criminality of infringement on your right to keep and bear arms. So in those states that are really fighting, God bless you all, because a lot of us are a little bit spoiled. We're a little spoiled in Texas and Arizona and Wyoming and Vermont. Can you be spoiled in Vermont? And Kansas. We're starting to get something that looks like a Second Amendment some places, because it doesn't exist anywhere yet. And allow the guitar player to explain that. Keep means it's mine. You can't have it. Bear means I've got some on me now and they're loaded. And I know I've repeated that, but we need to repeat that nonstop. That's the Second Amendment. If you're 18 and you're not convicted of a felony or a violent crime, you get to keep and you get to bear 24/7, 365, anywhere you damn well please. I am the whack master. I'm just a guitar player, but write this down. My name's Ted Nugent. I'm 66 years old, and I've never been in a gun-free zone, ever. Prior to my arrival, maybe. I cannot comprehend the soullessness of unarmed and helpless. It's foreign, offensive, cruel mindset. Do you wait till the fire starts before you get a fire extinguisher? Do you wait for a flat tire to get a spare? Do you wait for an injury before you get a first aid kit? Are you kidding me? And I know I'm speaking to the choir here, and that's the good. And I wanted to emphasize the logic, how common and sensible it is, what we believe in and what the NRA fights and demands. And that's what you are, and I salute you all, and I dedicate my life to you. That's enough good. Let's get into the bad and the ugly. And the worst bad and the ugliest ugly is that even this great assemblage of NRA members have family members, co-workers, people who they are considered dear friends at church and school and the workplace, who aren't NRA members. You haven't fixed them yet. So the community scammer didn't get to be the commander-in-chief because he's clever. Hillary Clinton and Susan Rice and Lois Lerner aren't in jail yet because they're sneaky. They commit their crimes in the wide open, and we the people have failed to arrest them yet.
That's right.
And we, the people of the NRA, haven't fixed our buddies. If just the 30-some million deer hunters would be members of the NRA, Charlie Schumer would move to Cuba. Nancy Pelosi would probably blow up. Is that not illegal? She already has the look. So, the bad and the ugly is that we the people have not finished our job yet. I can thank you all nonstop, take up all the time to salute you as NRA members and this incredible record attendance here in Nashville in 2015. The fact that we the people called our elected employees often enough to stop these punks in our government from banning 223 5.56 ammo. Salute. Good work. But that's the indication that when we do unite, and when we do perform our We the People obligations, that we get whatever we want. And whatever we want is always the right thing. It really is. The lunatic fringe, they kind of squawk and squeak and mumble. And the next thing you know, they're banning some mystical creation of Barbara boxers called Saturday Night Specials, or assault rifles, or high-capacity magazines, or cop-killer bullets, none of which exist. So, as we celebrate a great event, you can really get, I'm personally drunk on freedom right now. I'm absolutely intoxicated on individual rights. I'm high on all things National Rifle Association National 2015. But when I get home tomorrow, I'm going to go right back in and roll up my sleeves, and I'm going to raise hell, even though I'm rather made in Texas. You can't be in my band if you're not an NRA member. You can't be in my crew if you're not an NRA member. You can't drive my bus my guitar. You can't get downwind of my free ass unless you're an NRA member. And if you would all do that when you get home, next year they're going to need a bigger room. And it really is that simple. When I moved to Texas, there was a bunch of really stupid laws in Texas, which really made them stupid. No hunting for a week between bow and gun season. It's the end of October. It's the hunting season. You can't shut it down. You could use a crossbow during archery season, even though it shoots arrows, and a bunch of others. And I go, did I make a wrong turn in New York? What am I doing here? And so I called my elected employees. I identified the absurdity of illogical, counterproductive, non-science, non-safety considerations. And within a week, one by one, we got rid of it. And I'm just a guitar player. So when you see stupid, when you see someone who's not doing their We the People job, and you have people in your life that aren't NRA members, fix them. Don't beat them right away, but remind them that the other side isn't about reasonable gun regulations. There's nothing reasonable about anything Barack Obama or the gun-running Attorney General or Hillary Clinton or any of those crazy, crazy people want to force upon us. There's nothing reasonable about any of them. Here's the gun law. Here's the only gun law we need. Don't shoot the wrong guy. There's the gun. So our goal is to go home after this wonderful, soul-cleansing, spirit-invigorating celebration of the most perfect example of human freedom known in the history of planet Earth. And that is the right to keep and bear arms, to defend ourselves and our family, and go forth. And by this time next year in Louisville, how about each of you get 100 people to sign up as an NRA member? How about you got 100 buddies? You got 100 people you bump into? Hell, I've caused people to join the NRA pumping gas. They got a rifle in their truck. I don't see any NRA stickers. And I go, how's the hunting season going? You going to Nashville? No, the NRA event. No, I'm not a member. Well, you punk. So you're on Nancy Pelosi's side, are you? Well, no, yeah, you are. She likes you. If you're not an NRA member, the enemy likes you. And if the enemy likes you, I don't. So how simple would that be? Even gifts. I say this every year, and it has worked. The numbers have gone up. I know many of you have done this, but you know we can do more. So to fight the bad and the ugly, to fight the liars and the haters that are infesting our government right now, the ultimate sucker punch, literally, it's so simple and stupid, more NRA members. That's how we stop all these unreasonable laws. And this is not Uncle Ted's presumption. This is not guesswork. We have seen it happen. We have watched the ranks of the NRA grow. Not because of the threat from the other side so much, because for some strange reason, the threat from the enemy doesn't inspire people enough. But when people who know more, people who care more, people who do more, NRA members, when they speak up, good people who haven't been good enough, they will listen, they will join. So that's our goal. I know I'm going to see you here in Louisville next year. And we're going to have a bigger room. We're going to have more people. We'll have more firepower in the city and in the convention. But let's make it our #1 goal to get more and more NRA members to sign up, give them away as gifts for any and all occasions, and ultimately teach those NRA members that the membership card isn't enough. In fact, the membership card isn't enough. Here's a little ditty. You want to really drive the enemy crazy, almost as much as I do? How's this? You know how the Bank of America is now denying gun dealers and gun distributors and gun shops financing? You're all aware of the government's choke point, right? I hope you're aware of that. They list legal gun dealers in the same category as money launderers, brothels, and meth labs. I would expect nothing less from the community organizer. But you want to really kick them in the ass? Get an NRA Visa card where we've raised over $24 million, even in institutions and businesses that are anti-gun. Are you kidding me? It's really that simple. I just found out about it. But I got one. Do you got one? Work with the banks and work with an organization that every purchase you make, there's my man right there, every purchase you make, now I don't get nothing from this except the joy of crushing idiots. And every purchase you make on an NRA Visa card raises money for the National Rifle Association. So being an NRA card member isn't enough, but little things like that. We're raising more critical funds because we have an army in the NRA. With Chris Cox and Wayne LaPierre and my fellow board of directors, I'm telling you, they just don't sleep. They are always there on the front lines. They are always there identifying these sneaky, unreasonable attempts at more constitutional violating infringements. They're all infringements. They're all forbidden in the Constitution. And they do them all the time. So, NRA membership, the NRA Visa card, what a great little double kick that is. And more intense communication with your elected officials. I mean, just think if the NRA members just hammered our senators and congressmen asking why Lois Lerner isn't in jail yet. Why isn't Hillary Clinton in jail yet? So the government spends gazillions of our tax dollars studying the Benghazi horror story, and I would ask, where was the president for 8 hours? The president, commander-in-chief, American embassy in a dangerous area, off the grid for 8 hours? And their conclusion, after spending wasting our tax dollars, the conclusion of the United States government is that Benghazi had adequate security. So the house burnt to the ground, nothing but cinders, ankle high, and the conclusion of the government is that the house had adequate fire protection. Is this Planet of the Apes? One flew over the day-glow orange cuckoo's nest. Our government concluded that Benghazi had adequate security and that Fort Hood was workplace violence. And I'm a gay pirate. So there's so many outrageous, mind-boggling atrocities perpetuated by our government that are inexplicable on any honest, logical level. And if each and every one of you got your buddies and your friends and your co-workers and your shooting buddies and your deer hunting buddies to call your elected employees and go, why isn't Eric Holder in jail for the death of Brian Terry? Yeah. In jail for using the most powerful government agency to target political enemies. Why is she not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton, after dumping our emails and lying in public that they're gone, why isn't she in jail? She's running for the president instead of in jail? But you gotta keep asking. she's going to get away with it. Don't let her get away with it. Keep raising hell. Demand your senator and congressman find out. And I know the Huffington Post is here. I smell the rat. And see if you can get this quote accurately. Kiss my ass. When the evil people hate you as much as they hate me, you can't imagine the amount of pride I have. And you check out the leftist websites, which are, you know, back when Richard Pryor's afro caught on fire, I knew I was at the mountaintop of comedy. I knew there was no place to go. But thank God, the liberal media has actually gotten funnier than Richard Pryor's afro igniting. The depth of dishonesty and the make-believe lies they spread on a constant basis, I mean, just about me, is just, I just gotta laugh, it's just hysterical. That really is an indicator that the greasing threesome of power, media, academia, and the government are liars. They hate freedom. They hate the NRA. They hate self-defense. They hate conservation. They hate freedom. Because if they hate me, they have to hate all that stuff. Because I am all that stuff. You are all that stuff. So there's an unlimited list of points. I like to call them bullet points. There's an unlimited list of important, ballistically coefficient bullet points. Pick 2 or 3. Pick 1 or 2. And call your elected employees and reference them as elected employees. Say, hey, Congressman, good to talk to my elected employee. How's my job doing? And start putting more pressure. The reason they get away with this stuff is because we, the people, have failed miserably at putting adequate pressure on our employees. And isn't it something that 40-some years ago, I started writing love songs. And I did perfect the love song genre. And I'm going to adjust my amplifier to further scare the country fans. But when I started writing these songs, I never sat down and said, what would be a good idea for a song? Things like Stranglehold don't take analysis. So, pretend we're at a little Uncle Ted campfire here, shall we? How many people are aware of my precious musical history? You're not having fun with me, you're weird. So we got a little campfire here, and I got a guitar and amplifier. I'm gonna sit down, and I started playing in the studio. Hey, just checking out my strength. Then after a couple hours, I'm crying. That is cool. Oh, Nada, you come in. And we still play that every night. 2015, you know what I think? We need the great white buffalo to come back. The second verse went, but then came the white dogs with the big and empty head. Couldn't see past the window. They wanted a buffalo dead. So the Indians didn't fear. There was no buffalo to be found. The magic seemed to be missing. Looked like some kind of a burial ground. But above the canyon walls, strong eyes did glow. It was the leader of the land, oh my God. It was the great white buffalo. Yeah, he found the back herd. And he ran across the land. With the great white buffalo, I gotta make the final stand. With the great white buffalo, I'm gonna make the final stand. With the great white buffalo, that great white buffalo, that great white buffalo. Yeah, listen everybody, yeah, what I got to say. There is hope for tomorrow. Yes, if we wake up today, there is hope for tomorrow. If we wake up today, there's hope for tomorrow. If we wake up today, there's hope for tomorrow. If we wake up today, just happy. Now, it just so happens that the legend of the Native Americans referenced a white buffalo. Strictly a coincidence. But we need the leader of the land to find the battered herd. America is a battered herd. We are battered by corruption and abuse of power and criminality in our own government. But glory, glory, hallelujah, I don't feel battered.
You don't look battered. You look rather buoyant and resilient, cocked, locked, and ready to rock, Doc, as we say. So be like the great white buffalo. Don't back away from the storm. Look for the storm. Put your head down and walk proudly right into the storm. Let the whips of the French back away. You just keep plowing forward. The higher the drifts, the worse the wind, the more wolves. Kill them all. Plow forward. Never ever give up. Never ever back down. Never ever give in. Never ever surrender. I was only 18 or 19 when I wrote that, but I must have known. I must have known, because I was surrounded by hippies, and I watched an America so proud and certain after winning over the evil Japanese and Nazi empires that good could obliterate and crush evil. So no one was prepared. No one could have been told that their own government would turn on them. And our government has turned on us. I look at the government as a blizzard. And I tuck my buffalo head down in between my massive shoulders. I rub my arms up against some granite. And I just charge, wild-eyed and bushy-tailed. That's why I'm a radical, because I actually believe that guitar players qualify as we the people, and this is my experiment, my self-government. And so if you leave the NRA ballistically in tune with all the hardware you've been enjoying the fondling thereof, and the purchasing of more guns and ammo and gear and sharing hunting stories. Go forth into that not so quiet night and let our government know that we want separation of powers, that we want the executive and the legislative and judicial to be the watchdogs that the founding fathers wanted to be, not to be a united force against the citizens. And use it against the bad and the ugly. It's a target-rich environment. If it was a duck season, there'd be so many ducks, you just close your eyes and shoot. But don't close your eyes and don't shoot just yet. But plow forward and demand accountability. So once again, thank you for your good. Thank you for your We the People good. Thank you for your NRA good. So now let's take all that good and crush the bad and the ugly that can be identified as gun grabbers and freedom haters. As my buddy Chesty Fuller said, we got assholes behind us, we got assholes up front. There's assholes to the left and assholes to the right. Cool, we got them surrounded. Alright, so I'm having so much fun here right now. Because this is a Uncle Ted campfire, and I don't think we were prepared for this, but I'm going to improvise, adapt, and overcome. God bless Chesty. I would like to open this up to a few questions and answers. You know, I normally wouldn't have all the answers, but there's nothing normal about this anymore. I get to hang with the best of the best, the smartest of the smartest, the toughest of the toughest. So when I speak, I'm not speaking Ted Nugent stuff. I'm speaking on behalf of the best Americans out there, because that's who I train with, that's who I hang with. The military intelligence community, the military warrior community, and politicians who still adhere to their vow to the Constitution. So if anyone has a question You just jaunt your little ass right up here. Get up front here, unless we have microphones out there, because I can't hear squat. There you go, we have a man with the mic right there. Right down that aisle. I bet that lady has a question. Yes, ma'am, nice and clear.
First of all, I want you to run for president.
That's not bad.
I have 24 relatives that fought in the American Revolution. I have a relative that helped the Green Mountain Boys. They led the Tea Party in 1773, and they had passion, and you have passion.
Certainly not.
And I want to thank you, and I also want to thank you for buying my book. You actually called and bought my book.
Yes, I did.
No, not as big as Bucks and Bulls. And I really mean it. I think these people would vote for you. And unlike the environmental wackos, we vote, and we also have a lot of money. And I hope every single person out here listens to him and gets 100 people to join the NRA.
Thank you for that.
Today.
Thank you for that. God bless you. Yes, a gentleman over here, you have a question, right up here, if you have a question. There you go, sir.
Quick question first. Thank you for everything you do. Who do you want to see as president in 2016, and what running mate would you want?
Wow. You know, and if you go to my Facebook, you'll see that there are tens of millions of people that have actually asked me to run for president because they like my crowbar. I would rather maintain the most important political office in the land, and that is we the people, putting pressure on statesmen that we can find to represent us more accurately. I believe that the current crop of Republican candidates, some are good, some are great. If Rick Perry could be the president of the United States, we'd be fixed in about an hour and a half. Regardless of what you might think, I've watched him in action. I've watched how he's tackled big issues without the painkillers. He's a great statesman. He's a great We the People guy. The Rand Pauls and the Mike Huckabees and the Ted Cruzes all have their attributes. They're all great men in their own way. But I'm waiting to hear an ass-kicker speak out and not just beat the bully pulpit, but crush it with a swift right-hand blow. They won't take it anymore. But thank you for that. My running mate at this point would probably be Mrs. Nugent because she's a great shot. Sir?
Uncle Ted, don't you think if we collect $1 from everybody here, we could send that louse back to Kenya with his brother?
It'd be a great boat ride. I'd actually pilot that one. I'll tell you what, I will be going to a table here somewhere, and we will be raising money for our Ted Nugent Camp for Kids and our Freedom's Angels military charity and K9s for Warriors military charity and a bunch of military children's charities. So that money, in its own way, puts up a huge middle finger of We the People to the most important charities out there. So if anybody would like to come by and get my autograph or shake hands or invite me to a deer-infested farm, I will be hanging out here for a while. Sir?
Thank you, Uncle Ted. For the past 2 decades, we've pushed shall issue concealed carry pretty well through the country. How do we do constitutional carry now?
Well, I think Kansas showed the way. There was resistance in Kansas, but Kansas, he just signed it. And in Vermont, Alaska, yes, Arizona, and now Kansas and Wyoming, they all have what they call constitutional carry, but it's not quite constitutional carry. Because constitutional carry, again, I don't need to translate keep and bear to anyone here. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said. The way we get it done is how we've accomplished the greatest upgrade in Second Amendment rights ever. When I first got my concealed weapons permit in Michigan in 1975, it was good in one state. And then shortly thereafter, it was good in Florida. And now, because we passed House Resolution 218, a reciprocity for law enforcement agents, of course, if you want to identify the enemies of law and order, identify those liberal Democrats who fought to not allow cops to carry guns across the country. And I know there's room for debate in some of those areas, but that is a good open door, and that's why today we have 50 states with an upward mobility of Second Amendment rights. And the way we can accomplish this is by calling our elected employees and telling them what keep and bear means, and that law-abiding citizens with guns are the ultimate deterrent to mass shootings and runaway crime. And let me emphasize that in the most powerful way I can. It is April 2015. The Alaputes are attacking around the world. They decapitate people in Europe because Europeans have been taught to watch. If you have a gun, wear it. Everywhere you go. I have too much ammo, no one ever said. And when the Alaputes strike, cut them in half. You can't stop a jihadist with a sock full of quarters. Sir?
Yes, sir. First of all, been a fan for years. Great job. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, sir.
But taking what you just said one step further, a little about me. Years ago, when you see these bumper stickers that said, when guns are outlawed, on the outlaws would have guns, my friends would look around and say, hey man, that's you. So I've been carrying a while. However, and I believe that we need to carry. But what do we do when our job says, if you carry, if I'm a pizza delivery guy and my job says you carry, you're fired, how do we fight that? I know you got away because you're more of an adjective than I am.
Well, you have a very important point, because it is a fine line. America is about freedom, and that means we have the right to keep and bear arms, but owners of private property and owners of private businesses also have their rights. Like I said, you're not even allowed to be in my band if you're not an NRA member. I'm sure someone could say that's some kind of discrimination, which I would be proud of. But it's so much about choice. It's so much about prioritization. Thank God, in Moore, Oklahoma, that business owner was carrying a gun, and he stopped the Alapute before they could decapitate another employee. That was great, and that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Not to be confused with in England, when the guys were running up and down the street threatening to cut people's heads off, and people just kept shouting. I mean, the guy was walking around with a dagger at his side. That's like a dream target. Double tap my ass. Get them all 16. You have to make that choice, but you also have to comply. If on my property I said you can't bring a gun, I also have that right. That's the way I read it, because I respect other people's rights. And here's what I would do. Yeah. Well, I'm not afraid, and I'm not afraid to say what I would do. I would carry anyway. And if I decided that his rules were worth respecting, I know I'm contradicting myself because the guy has his rights, but if you're prison, you need a small holster. I should talk. I'm running out of this second. Get a different job. Go someplace where your rights are respected. So,
Ted, I'm just wanting to take a second to say I'm just so thankful and pleased to see that you're on the board of directors of the NRA.
I'm very proud. Thank you for your vote.
I'm thrilled for that. But one of the things that I'm totally perplexed by is how and why did the NRA ever endorse Harry Reid to serve as the front man of Osama Obama?
Very, very important question. Maybe the most important question we can confront here, because it's so confusing and on the surface so diabolical. I'll do my Harry Reid impression. admitted he's a lying prick, and we haven't sent him to Cuba yet. I can't wait to see the Huffington Post's interpretation of that. keep the flaming afros coming is what I always say. My point is that please tell your friends who go, I joined the NRA and endorse Harry Reid. I'm quitting because Grover Norquist is on the board of directors. I'm quitting the NRA. I get too much shit in the mail. Oh, shut up. There's a Marine with no legs who fought for your freedoms. I don't want to hear about too much mail. I don't want to hear about your favorite NRA supporter. The NRA is it. The NRA knows what they're doing. If your child is dying, and there's only one way to get to the doctor, would you get on Harry Reid's boat to get there?
Hell no.
Then your child's dead. I'd get on the boat, get there, then I'd shoot him. All right. Improvise, adapt, overcome. When the NRA does something, please register this. Some of you may not like this, but you're wrong. When the NRA sends out fundraising material, give what you can. If you can't give, throw it away. It won't hurt you. It is a proven methodology to get critical funds to crush the nonstop onslaught from the enemy. And if you see them endorse someone like Harry Reid, it's because this deceptive bastard actually stood up for our Second Amendment rights, contrary to the alternative candidates. It's simple pragmatism. And I know you have to have ideals, you have to have principles, and thank God he's gone so we can have principles again. But all I can tell you is that I am not the master of politics. I've watched, now I haven't watched squat, I have participated in the We the People duty number one, communicating with elected officials. And believe me, when the NRA makes a move that you're not sure about, please give them the benefit of the doubt. It's because we need to stop anti-gun legislation and move forward to get our Second Amendment rights back. And sometimes we have to do it on the skull of idiots like Harry Reid. So please give that some consideration. Sir.
Ted, I want to say thank you for your service as an entertainer, as a law enforcement officer, and as a board of directors, or on the board for the NRA.
Thank you.
As, this isn't a question, but as a board member, would you please pass along to the people that make the decisions, when they look at entertainment, to not look at if it's going to be in a gun-free zone?
Can you believe that? I personally apologize for that. It's so offensive to me. There's all this hyperbole and misinformation running amok prior to the convention here that the NRA wasn't allowing guns at the convention. But that was Nancy Pelosi having another bad dream. But I can't understand that. But again, that's what we addressed here a moment ago. If the facility is owned by a private organization, they have that right. Boy, can I tell you some stories. I think you have to respect, that wasn't a law. That was a private property owner's decision. And I find it offensive. I wouldn't have gone. Was it Alan Jackson? I wouldn't have even done it. I wouldn't have gone there. Love Alan. Love the accordions. Okay. Sir.
Yes, hi. You are fantastic at what you do. I've seen you in action and I've seen what you do. First off, thank you. I'm not even at my question yet, but thank you for everything you've done.
My pleasure.
For us, for me, for the people with boots on the ground, I thank you for that.
God bless you.
Thanks. What do we do when people come to our door and try to take our guns? When they knock our door down, what do? How do we stop them? How do we say, no, I am going to keep this in my hand?
Very articulate for a young man. Thank you for that. A rhetorical question, if ever there was one, but critical today because it's happening in New Jersey, it's happening in Connecticut, it's happening in New York, over magazine capacity and certain technology. It's just a disaster. It's so anti-American jackboot thuggery. But here's my recommendation. There was a bad search warrant issued against me many years ago by a rogue cop in Michigan. They came to my house and they remained reasonably polite, and we filmed the whole thing, razor dots on the vid cam. And because there was a hole a mile away in a horse trailer that looked like a .40 caliber, they decided to come to my house late at night and take all my 40 and 10 millimeter guns and all my ammo. Of course, they didn't have enough trucks for that. And what I did is I read them the riot act without raising my voice too much, told them how they were violating their oath to the Constitution and that they must have lied to the judge and that I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I won't tell you how I got to the bottom of it, but I got to the bottom of it. The next day, the prosecutor attorney returned all my guns and ammo with a huge apology, and the state trooper was fired. Because I raised hell. I called everybody, and I wouldn't let them put me on hold. I wouldn't let them hang up on me. Every senator, every congressman, every prosecuting attorney, the state attorney general, the governor's office, and I made my point efficiently enough where they saw that that was a violation, but it was a test to see what they could get away with Ted Nugent. And 99% of law enforcement agents in that state condemned the guy that did it because he was a thug with a badge. And even though it's rare, it's a reality. So my recommendation is do what I did. Try to video as much as you can. You're going to have to surrender and pursue the legal process to the best of your ability. And don't give up. And contact the NRA and find people that will stand and fight with you. Because there are guys, our good friend Rich Wyatt of Gunsmith in Aurora, Colorado, he had the ATF jackboot his operation and steal all his guns and his customers' guns just a week or so ago. And because he tried to video them doing it, they knocked him to the ground and handcuffed him. A good man, law enforcement, law-abiding guy. I don't know where it stands right now, but you don't need to get shot. You don't need to start a firefight yet. It's rare enough where we can hold our ground. I'm going to take one more here and one more there, and then I'm going to go raise some more hell. Son.
First off, Ted, I want to say thank you. I want to know how we can get these anti-gun liberal teachers or educators out of their jobs.
That's a real important point. Thank you for identifying that. And are you a student or something? The first thing you do is stand up against them and in a very polite and respectful manner tell them they're full of shit. But here's another important battle. Great questions. Mom and Dad, are we monitoring our schools? Are we monitoring the so-called education of our children? Are you letting liberal teachers get away with lies? Are you letting them reconstruct history and information to adhere to their vile anti-freedom agenda? That's the job of Mom and Dad. They tried that with our son in Michigan, and we stepped right in and we read them the riot act. And we alerted other parents to that. Don't let them do it. That's another we the people thing. They got there by we the people not monitoring them adequately, the same way the community organizer got to be president. So it's a mom and dad job. And a student smart as you, young man, don't take any crap. Tell them the truth about guns. Tell them how gun-free zones are a murderer's playground, and how dare you want more of those. Sir.
God bless you, sir. I call you Commander, Uncle Ted Nugent.
Well, thanks.
My name is Don Husky. I'm a retired Sergeant Major, USA. And I want to thank you on behalf of my son, finished 2 combat tours in Afghanistan with the 82nd Airborne Rangers, 1st Division. And I want to, as a member of the state of Illinois, I want to thank you because now we're the 50th state, 57 if you go by President Barack Obama. All right. But I happen to have a small radio show over there in Effingham, Illinois, the junction of Interstate 57 and 70. It's called Guns Today Radio Show, 2.5 years after Sandy Hook. But I'll tell you what, we try to do a lot of things. NRA in our area, my radio show, I'll hope to stay on the air. A part of Cromwell Radio Group, which is nationally based right here in Nashville, Tennessee. I first saw you when I was a young paratrooper in the 101st Airborne Division at the State Fairgrounds.
Well, I'm the only guitar player who created the soundtrack for paratroopers.
But I want to tell you, my son now is training Rangers at Eglin Air Force Base Camp Runner. And they appreciate everything you do, taking care of the troops, the wounded warrior. And I want to ask you if you'll come to Illinois, and you've got a lot you're doing.
I do.
But we're fighting to hang on to it because we've got it now. And one of the things we do is we hold up this card. No guns, no dollars. And we pass these out. And the best thing we can do. But if anything you can do, I'd like to talk to you sometime about anything you can do, because the liberals still want to take it away from us.
Well, Rahm Emanuel still has a job there. That's an indicator.
They probably have a wanted poster on me up in Chicago.
Well, God bless you for that. You're
and you have sold more NRA memberships in Illinois. Volunteer. We put out that magazine that has you on there, and I might have a command influence, but you're Commander Uncle Ted. You have sold more NRA memberships than anybody out of our state. Thank you.
Very important. And that's why I do what I do. I'll take this last question and I'll meet you all at the signing table. Sir?
Real quick, you're a board member of the NRA. Would you please bring to the NRA as a matter of rating a politician, perhaps considering votes on illegal aliens, the border, and amnesty, because we have all these undocumented Democrats that are out there, and at some point in the future, we're never going to win an election again, and all of our efforts will be for naught.
Brilliant point.
Please comment.
But let me tell you, the NRA is single-minded. Second Amendment rights. We are always going to go for those who will support our Second Amendment rights. We're not going to worry about the environment. We're not going to worry about illegal aliens. We're not going to worry about the court system. All genuine and critical, pivotal issues. You're absolutely right. What they're doing is they are bribing voters. They are giving money to people to get here illegally and invade our country, paying for their airfares, paying them to vote Democrat. So that's we the people's job. So we better find the right Republican candidate or the right libertarian candidate, and we better get these liberal Democrats the hell out of our government. All right, so let me conclude by saying that a lot of people say, well, he doesn't need to do this. He sold 40 million records, and he's the whackmaster. Oh, by the way, thank you for voting Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild, the #1 hunting show in the history of hunting shows. Every year, we've been on there for 23 years now. And your People's Choice Award is the only one I care about. We're not going to get graphic awards or commercial awards or killer turkey footage, but we are getting every year the People's Choice Award. And that's all that matters to Shemaine and I, so thank you for that. But I'll leave you with this. I would like to think that the reason that you're willing to fight and take up precious family quality time to be an active NRA member and to communicate with your elected employees is the same reason that I'm willing to do this, and I'm driven, absolutely unstoppably driven to do this. In 2004, I was in Fallujah, Iraq, and I was all over Afghanistan. And Toby Keith and I went behind the enemy lines into a number of camps we were not supposed to. I know I'm getting somebody in trouble here. And I stood there in 115-degree heat with my hand planted on my forehead for about a half an hour as we saluted dozens and dozens and dozens of flag-draped coffins. I'll just never get over that. And we stood at a military hospital over the body of Private First Class Todd Balding from Austin, Texas, who still had an RPG in his chest. And we stood there as he bled to death. And Shemaine and I host these incredible heroes at our ranch throughout the year, every year. They all have a red carpet at my concerts every year. And I was welcomed into that inner circle way back in the 1960s as these Vietnam heroes came home and were treated like dirt. And they heard my music, and they heard my interviews, and they know that I stood with them, and they knew that I did not dodge the draft. And they knew what I was made of and what I was fighting for. So I know why you do it, and I know why you're going to do it more. And I know why I do it, because there's a Marine and a soldier and a sailor and an airman in a box, in a track chair, waiting for a new arm, with a seeing eye dog, whose life has been shattered, fighting pure, easily identified evil around the world. So every time you get a handful of cash, and you're about to do some fun family stuff, maybe back down on some of those purchases and give to one of these incredible, many military charities that help them, and call your elected employees and tell them to fix the Veterans Administration.